turnip, rutabaga. Wait, what? You sure? Rutabaga, turnip. Which one is which? And we're going to find out now. Well, this is a turnip and this is a rutabaga. But how do we know the difference, right? First, let's talk about the turnip. They aren't generally this big, but that's all they had at the farmer's market. Typically, anyway. You can tell a turnip because the mauve color is right there, a light color mauve, and the bottom part is usually like a cream color. And if you compare mashed turnips to mashed potatoes, it's a low-carb alternative. 12 versus 44 grams a cup. Now, in terms of sizes, the rutabaga can be that size, but this is a pretty large rutabaga as well. But most times they are like that oval, egg-shaped type, and the purple is a little deeper, darker color than the lavender of the turnip itself. The bottom part is a deeper, darker yellow, and when we cut it, you'll be able to determine it, again, the color differentiation. So that's a rutabaga and that's a turnip. Now the rutabaga is full of potassium, magnesium, and fiber, all things good for the heart. Now in a previous video, I show you how to peel both of them, and I will put the link in the description. All right, now both of them are chopped. Can you tell which one is which? Is that a rutabaga or a turnip? Okay, if you said that was a rutabaga, ding, 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 you are correct. And if you said that that's a turnip, ding, 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 you are correct. Now we're going to boil both of them. I cut them up and chopped them up in quarters or whatever. And now we're just going to put that water and the turnips in water. We're going to do the same thing and put the rutabaga in its own water. And what I found that I needed to do was to add a little bit more water in the rutabaga than what's there. I want to cover water for both of the vegetables. And so I needed to add a little bit more water for that one. But we're going to boil both of them. We're going to cook them the same for right now. We're going to boil both of them at the same time until they get very soft. Now, here's the question. Which will get soft first, the rutabaga or the turnip? Okay, we're going to find out later. Now, again, for both of them, I'm just going to add a little bit of olive oil. Olive oil serves to coat the vegetable or pasta or food when you're boiling so they won't stick together. And that's why I'm adding it now. Plus a little bit of salt to give it a little bit of flavor. Even though I'm going to strain it, some of the salt might remain, which is not a bad thing because salt does enhance the taste of its food. And with these two vegetables, you can afford to be a little bit more liberal in seasoning. Both have been boiling for a while vigorously. And if you guessed that the rutabaga is more dense than the turnip and it's taking a longer time to get done, then you're right. The turnip is done. Now we're going to drain it, but we're going to keep cooking the rutabaga. Okay, I drained them and see how it's a little bit watery. So after you finish draining them and you mashing them, you may need to drain them some more. So just go ahead and put them in a strainer, a very close-knit, tight strainer. And as you're mashing them, let the water just leave the strainer and keeping the meat right there. All right. Okay, this southern recipe, we're just going to call them mashed turnips as if they were mashed potatoes, but turnips, starting off with some salt, with some sugar. Now that was monk fruit sugar and about a tablespoon of butter. This is also a couple tablespoons of sour cream we're adding in there. And this is about a quarter cup of heavy whipping cream. If you don't want heavy whipping cream, go ahead and add a quarter cup of milk and a half of an eighth ounce, which would be 4 ounces of cream cheese, and then just go ahead and mix that until it's all mixed together.
And you'll find all of this in my description box below.
Have any acyl? If you don't, go ahead over to Lisa D's Delights and order you some. But if you don't have that, just go ahead and use some garlic powder or garlic pepper or a little bit of garlic and a little bit of pepper, whatever you have in your cupboard that makes it to your taste buds taste just great.
And we're done with the turnip mash. Now I'm plating this turnip mash to give you an example of how you can use it and incorporate it with a dinner dish. Now on this one we had spinach and stewed chicken, but you can have anything that you desire. Now listen, if you don't want to add the cream cheese, the heavy whipping cream, then make it to your own tasting. Maybe some butter. Add some garlic pepper or salt and pepper if you don't want to add the other ingredients that would make it too high in calorie. But just look at it, right? Okay, so it's not mashed potatoes, but boy, it's delicious, creamy mashed turnip.
That's yummy all day, y'all.
Now let's head on over to the already mashed rutabaga.
And that's 2 tablespoons of room temperature butter. Not to worry, as I mix it, it'll just mix in there because the rutabaga is still hot.
And that's a teaspoon of ground ginger. Now this is 2 tablespoons of sugar, half of which is monk fruit and the other half is just regular granulated sugar. And both of these recipes will be in my description below. And I already told you about the acyl, so you know the substitute. If you don't have it and you want it, you know what to do. Head on over there to Lisa D's Delights. Now, next we're adding a 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. Now, this can be a 1/4 cup, a 1/2 cup, pending your consistency with your rutabaga pudding. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are making rutabaga pudding. All right, we're not done yet. Now, here I'm adding croutons along with cooked quinoa. Now, you don't have to add the quinoa if you don't want to. I love quinoa, and I love quinoa with this recipe because it adds a little bit of texture to it. Okay, so that's about, I don't know, a 1/4 cup of croutons and about, what is that? Maybe a 1/4 cup of quinoa. Now this might thicken it where you may need to add a little bit more heavy whipping cream, a little bit more butter, depending on the consistency that you would like with regard to the pudding, the rutabaga pudding. 1 well-beaten egg. Once you make sure that everything is mixed well together, then you want to go ahead and spoon in your pudding into a baking dish. Make sure that your baking dish is lined with some kind of a vegetable spray or greased pan or however way you want to do it, just so that the pudding won't stick to the bottom once you take it out. And after it's spooned in there, then you want to go ahead and spread some melted butter on top just to give it that shine towards the end. Then you want to put it in the oven on 350, cook it for about 45 minutes, and then we're done. And here's the result.